All right, everybody, it's a big storm day. Good morning, I'm Todd Gutner. It's Wednesday morning, and we're going to begin the day with some ice. Just like yesterday morning, problems getting above 32. There's some rain falling. There's some interior locations that are still getting ice to form, like Lewiston, some of the Oxford Hills. Waterville's got a temp of 30. Augusta, Portland, you're right at 32. Ice probably not forming anymore, but it's also not like completely melting away either. So all surfaces that don't have a treatment of salt, they're going to be slippery. These are the type of mornings where I think the roads are in pretty good shape because they've had crews out over the last few days, basically salting and sanding, and they were probably out already this morning too. But if you walk out the front door and some of the walkways and sidewalks, test them out. These are the mornings where you get people in the emergency room, cracked wrists, twisted ankle, things like that. So we're slowly making progress temperature-wise. Rockland, Bar Harbor, you're safe now. Even Bangor's safe at 36 degrees. Let's go over here to the timeline because we're going to get out of this ice phase of this, and then it's just going to be a flooding and power outage thing later on today as the system really ramps up. So this is right now. Scouring out the cold in the lower layers. By midday, it's all gone. We're still dealing with steady rain. Some of it will be on the heavy side. There could be some drainage flooding issues at this point in any of the downpours. We still have snow out there. It's not going to completely melt away right now, so it'll clog up some of the drainage. With some heavy downpours, we could have some problems at intersections or underneath some of those overpasses, but those are just temporary issues. Then the snow melts away this afternoon as our temps rise into the 50s. It's possible somewhere down in like southern New Hampshire it's 60 degrees. So almost all of that snow is going to melt away. Our focus then becomes this squall line. And I'm going to stand for this so you can, oops, did I lose my mic? Nope, I got it still. Barely, so that I can get more into this for you. So this is the squall line. It's an intense line of heavy rainfall. It's kind of convective in nature and could actually include some rumbles of thunder. Wouldn't be shocked if that happens. It'll be right over the New Hampshire border around 5 o'clock this evening, and then it's going to slowly work across the state through the latter half of the evening and up until about midnight. It gets to Bangor 10, 11 o'clock, around midnight or so, and then works across the state the rest of the overnight hours and will be gone by morning. Within this line, the rain is going to be really intense. It's going to be wild for a few hours. The wind is going to be really intense. It's going to be wild for a few hours, and therefore we have our biggest problems and biggest area of concern from 6 p.m. to midnight. First of all, the wind potential. There is potential for some really big gusts here. Not too far above our heads. We call it a low-level jet stream. It'll be about 3,000, 4,000 feet or so. There's going to be like 100-mile-per-hour winds. Now, again, it's pretty far up there. Even some of the highest mountains in Maine won't be touching it. But like Mount Washington will, and Sugarloaf, and Katahdin, places like that. The lowest layer of the atmosphere is where we're most focused as forecasters, as meteorologists, because there's actually like this protective layer at the lowest level. There's going to be some cold air still, even though it'll be in the lower 50s. Above those lower 50s, it might be mid 50s. And when you have a situation like that with cold below warm, that's like this protective layer, and we want that to be maintained. We don't want to lose that protective layer. It looks like a lot of places, especially over the western half of the state, like Portland, Lewiston, Freiburg, Sanford, on over into New Hampshire, will maintain that protective layer. It's going to be really close in Portland, but the farther east you go, the more likely it gets eroded, and therefore we become more exposed to some of these higher wind gusts, like 60 miles per hour or higher. So if we go back over to this map here, I'll show you where I'm talking about that has the potential to get 60 plus. It's the mid-coast, maybe some of the islands in Casco Bay too, Penobscot Bay funneling up the Penobscot into Bangor, and then the rest of the down east coastline. 60 plus mile per hour gusts, that's undoubtedly going to cause power outages and would cause widespread power outages. So we're going to have them. I hope we don't hit these like 100,000 thresholds, those kind of things, but it's on the table. So prepare as if you're going to get one. And I say that meaning like prepare during the day, like, sun sets at 4 o'clock. And this is coming through between 6 and midnight. Some of you will be asleep. If the power goes out when you're asleep and you don't have like that flashlight on the nightstand, you're going to have to be fumbling around for it. So make sure you got all your ducks in a row. The charged phones, you got the flashlights with batteries in them. If you operate a generator, a portable one especially, go out and get another canister of fuel. Because if we get widespread outages, we're probably going to have lengthy outages. There are a lot of crews in the state, from out of state actually, helping out CMP and Versant, and hopefully this all gets restored quickly, but there's a chance it could be a couple of days. That's happened in the past, and it's going to happen again at some point, and this might be that occasion. So just prep as if you're going to get one. Lastly, I want to cover the rainfall. We're going to get 2-3 inches of rain, and we're going to be melting snow too. So we have flood watches up for the entire state. I don't see problems on the big rivers right now. I don't see major problems along the coastline either right now, aside from the drainage issues that we discussed in heavier downpours. But up in the mountains and foothills, there's already some ice on some of these smaller rivers and streams and at the headwaters. So ice can dislodge and then get clogged up and backed up on some of the rocks or underneath some bridges, underneath some of those overpass, things like that. And we call that ice jam flooding. And it can be a problem because everything's fine for a while, and then this big chunk of ice gets dislodged from where it is and then gets clogged up somewhere, and all of a sudden the river gets backed up. It's like someone put a stopper in it. So I hope that doesn't happen, but again, in this scenario, it could. It could. A lot of you have been concerned about last December and how catastrophic the flooding was up in the mountains and foothills. I don't think that's going to happen. I can't promise you that a road won't get washed out, or even several won't get washed out, or a culvert might get compromised. But I don't think it's going to be as catastrophic. For one, and probably the most important thing, these rivers are very low right now. Thankfully, I guess there's a silver lining in all this. Thankfully, it was bone dry all fall. We had virtually no rain, September, October, most of November. So our river levels are very low. They can come up quite a bit, and they will, and there will be some flooding, but I'm hoping it won't be like last December. So that's kind of the latest on everything right now. We still have another, say, 18 hours of some weather here coming through, the ice this morning, and then the most intense part of this entire 3-day event will be this evening between 6 and midnight when the squall line comes and we get the downpours and we get the big wind gusts. I think that pretty much covers it all. We'll be following this all day long, so keep checking back for updates. Keith, Ryan, Aaron, and Dana, we're all here today. So we've got your back and we've got you covered, and hit us up on any of the social media stuff if you have any questions, okay? Have a good day, be safe, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning on the other side of the storm. So I'll see you on the other side.